What's that?
Cars, airplanes, telephones, electric, everything.
When did the first car come through St. James?
There were only a few cars around when I was a child, and they never took them out except Sunday to go to church. One here and one maybe a mile away. Canning's had a car, but they all had them in garages locked in.
What about airplane? When was his first airplane?
They were just starting to come. If one came, my mother would yell, "Run outside, look, quick, quick, an airplane." We'd all run out and look. And there were little bit of things. Don't you realize everything became, in the late 1900s and early 1900s, early 1800s, and early 1900s,
Yeah.
the first cars. I saw everything come. Yeah.
But you didn't have a radio at home?
Of course not. I was a teenager when we went to visit my cousins in Port Jefferson. She passed the road, and Fred Latham had a little radio in his room, and we could hear it scratching and screeching. And we went, "What is he listening to?" First radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the TV?
I don't know when the first TVs, they come after the radios. The first TV I ever saw was Starry Letter, a 10-inch radio of TV, 10-inch in black and white.
Yeah.
We'd go down Letters at night, and you had tiptoeing quiet. It was pitch dark, and they had little 10-inch, and the girls were doing roller derby and bumping each other, and sit there in the pitch dark watching that little 10-inch Starry Letter.
Huh.
I might have been my teens, 16, 17.
Oh.
So I saw everything come. Everything. But this newfangled Facebook, I don't see no picture going through the air. How's it get there? Where is it? Where is it?
Well, you can take a picture now and send it across the world in a couple seconds.
I can't believe. I don't see it going. Where is it? Yeah, you can't explain it.
It's over the computer.
Oh, brother. Oh, if you'd only come a minute sooner before I hung up. But that's all right. You'll see Mike when he gets here. He's what, 51? No, more.
Mike? 40,
No, he's got to be.
40.
Oh, yeah, 40. Rick's the one's
Rick
51.
is 51.
Rick's 51.
Let's see. Mike is going to be 45 in September.
Oh, yeah, and you'll be 40.
I just turned 41.
Oh, you turn 41, 40. You're 4 years apart.
Yep.
And we minded Mike while your mother went to hospital for you.
When did your father get a first car?
What?
When did your father get the first car?
I was about 17. So 17 to 11, I'd have been about 1928, 29. First car. Wesley Wolf, the guy that did the wiring, took my mother and father to get a car, second-hand one, of course. He brought them home, put it in the garage, and left them with the car. They didn't have to drive. So next day, they pushed it out of the garage, out to Jefferson Avenue. They got in, they learned how to drive. They taught each other.
Wow.
My mother and my father.
They both learned how to drive?
Yes.
So how did you get around until then?
What?
How did you get around until then?
We walked. How do you think I got to school back every day, 3 miles? Walked. By the time we left my grandfather's house on that corner, you know where it is.
Yeah.
But that was the last house, nothing but woods all the way till we got right into Smithtown. Woods. Nothing.
But 25A was a road.
It was a road, but there was no houses. They were all built later. By the time I left my grandfather's house, didn't see nothing till we got right into Smithtown. Nothing.
It was 3 miles to school each way?
3 miles each way, 6 miles a day. I was so glad when Irene caught up to me like came too, you know. She was 2 years behind me, you know.
Oh, so you could walk together to school.
What?
So you could walk together to school.
We had a bus starting that last year of my high school.
Wow.
We had we had to be on Lake Avenue 7 a.m. to get to school at 9.
It's only 3 miles away.
We could walk down there before that bus picked kids up, and when you got dropped off, you could not get in. We outside kids were treated like second-hand citizens. We could not get in that school. Snow, sleet, we stood there huddled in the rain because the bus would drop us off at 8 o'clock. We used to say, Mr. Marsh, Mr. Koslick, the janitor, please let us in. We just want to stand. The Smithtown School Board says, nobody comes in this school till the teachers get here.
Huh.
9:15. So you think we were going to get up at 6:30 and go and get a bus and stand outside down there? We preferred to walk. Yeah. We leave her at 8, we get there 10 minutes to 9. But can you imagine walking in sleet and snow and rain?
And this is before you had electricity in the house even.
I was 14 before we got electric. And of course there was no water, so you had no bathroom. Everybody had outhouses.
So you had an outhouse. You had to
We
go
did too in the beginning. There wasn't any water. We didn't get the water district here in 1945.
But you had water.
Oh, we had water from a cistern, but you couldn't use hardly, you know.
So you had to
used it, you had none.
So you had to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom. You had to go run outside to the outhouse.
We had pails in each room with a cover. In case you had it wet during the night, you could get up. But the next morning, you had to go dump them, wash them. Everybody says, get a commode and put in your room. You can sit in there and go to bed. Then I said, who's going to clean it and dump it? The maids? They're not going to do it. No way. No way. No water, no electric. Can you imagine if you told your kids we have no water, no electric? We cooked on a kerosene stove, and in the winter we cooked on a coal stove with coal in or wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the summer, my mother had a kerosene stove because it didn't make as much heat.
Kerosene?
Yeah, kerosene.
Where'd you get the kerosene from? Who? Standard Oil?
No, I never
Rockefeller,
heard.
probably.
I don't know where they got
Rockefeller's kerosene, yep.
And you had no refrigerator.
We had an ice box.
We had an ice box, and Mr. Dorman from Middle Country Road used to come around with a cake of ice. Nobody was allowed to open that unless it was to get food out.
Yeah.
You had to make that ice last a week.
Wow.
Then you had a pan underneath. When it dripped, you had to remember to dump it. That was our life. Well, when you think when our ancestors come over here in the woods, what'd they have?
I guess not much more. Not much less.
They didn't have a house. They stayed on the ships out in the water. In spring, they come in, chop trees down, and built log cabins. Right?
Yeah.
They had no crops till that year, so they had everything had to be on that boat. They had cows on board, pigs.
Well, great-grandpa had cows, right?
He had a cow down here in Fifth Street, yeah.
Oh. What else?
Chickens, half a dozen chickens. Oh, a dozen chickens. We had chickens. My father had. Pearson, everybody had chickens. But you had to have a guy who would chop their head off. Blah. Dick would go out there and chop the old chicken's head off.
Really?
Then you had to dump that chicken in a big pot of hot scalding water.
Get the feathers off?
Feathers off. Then cut them open and clean them. Then when he brought it to me, it was all ready to wash. It was up to me. We'd never had a chicken.
Oh.
We had eggs. He made sauerkraut with a great big 5-gallon crock. Grated the cabbage, salt, cabbage up the top. And he preserved eggs. People don't believe me that we preserved eggs in a big crock. When they laid a lot of eggs in the summer, you save some for when the fall, when they practically didn't lay. And they put them in water glass. You ever hear of it?
No.
It's a white powder. You mix it with water, got like a thick gelatin, and you put a layer of eggs, a layer of that, all the way up the top. And you put it in the basement. Things we did to make ends meet. Depression was on, no money. Yeah.
Well, you got the house built.
What?
You got the house built.
He built the house. We had no mortgage. 2 years to build it. 31 to 33. 2 years. When I tell people we saved eggs, all they think I'm nuts. No. No. In the country, people here could help themselves. Go to the harbor, get clams, fish, eels, watercress. City people couldn't help themselves. They were out on the sidewalk lined up to go and get a free meal. I had a picture which I mailed Susan years ago. Showed all the men in line, all fedora hats on, standing in line waiting for breakfast. Yeah.
During the Depression?
There was no help, no welfare, no help. You couldn't get a prune. Nothing. I made all the Shirley's and Judy's clothes, chicken feed bags. They were floured. They'd go in the feed store and say, I want that one, I want that one. Pink or blue or yellow flour. And we mothers all made their dresses. We tried to make them look not handmade, homemade, but putting Rick on and this and that to decorate them. And when I got through Shirley wearing a sub down to Irene for her kids, I made Shirley 3-piece bathing suit, panties, a skirt, ruffled skirt, top. I made a summer hat and coat for Easter. Yeah. I had the sewing machine going all the time. Yeah. Chicken feed bags. And our dish towels were made of chicken feed bags too. We bleached the color out of them and dried the dishes on them. You didn't buy anything. A sheet was $1. A lady's handbag was $1. We didn't have $1. No. At the end of the week, Irene and I were, she said, I had a dime left. I had a quarter left. At the end, you wouldn't even pick one up today. Oh, brother. Irene was in this, but Irene didn't need any money for a car. They used the business car for everything. Yeah. They didn't have Barbara was a teenager before they got a car. They used that car, the business car.
When did Grandpa get the job at Grumman?
What?
When did Grandpa get the job at Grumman?
The war was on, 1941, and 3 of his brothers worked there. And they all kept saying to Grandpa, why don't you quit and go to Grumman and get more money? He thought, no, the war isn't going to last very long.
In 1941?
Yeah, so a year or two later, he realized the war wasn't ending. He quit Kings Park, went to Grumman 2-3 years later.
Wow.
And when the war ended, they were all laid off. He went back to Kings Park.
Oh.
But Jordan, Grandpa got $51 a month. And there were 12-hour shifts, not 8. 12-hour shifts, he got $51 a month.
But
if 5 weeks come that month, you had that month for 5 weeks. About $10 a week.
Well, he eventually went back to Grumman, right?
Yes. And later on, when Grumman started rebuilding and making different things, he went back. He was called back.
Oh.
Yeah. We thought we were rich. Can you imagine $51 a month? No. Little old Lester Cuffey used to go by you with a little cart with wheels on, a long handle, and pulling it, selling hard clams. I felt so bad that I didn't have a quarter to get a dozen clams from him. He went down, dug them, then he'd go peddling them. That was tough, huh? Yeah, Mrs. Treadwell's uncle. I didn't have a quarter. That's how tight money was. Yeah. No, tight. Well, I got to go and get down.
Okay. You gonna take a nap? Going down to take a nap?
Yes.
Okay.